What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to the KJ MMA Show. I'm your host, Garrett Kerman. With me, as always, is my man, Ryan Jarrell. What's up, man? How's it going?
I am doing well. Happy to be back and another good fight card that we just had this past Saturday. And then this upcoming weekend, obviously, is UFC 270. So that is one that you just can't miss. And a great show here today. We have UFC middleweight Joseph Holmes on the show. He fought Jamie Pickett this past Saturday. That fight didn't go his way, but it's his UFC debut. He's going to have plenty more, and that guy's a stud. He's here to stay. So I'm intrigued to hear what he has to say about his fight with Jamie Pickett.
Oh yeah, that was a great fight. It was back and forth. It was very close to the very end. He won round one, and started fading towards rounds two and three. But I still thought he had a great fight, and the sky's the limit. He's still got a lot of fight in him. A lot of time ahead of him. So we're looking forward to getting him on the show, seeing what his thoughts are, and where he goes from there. But the whole fight card itself, it was a little lackluster. I think there was like 5 or 6 fight cancellations. Some fights were moved to this weekend at UFC 270. So, it was very lackluster. There was a ton of decisions. There was only, I believe 2 finishes on the card. And luckily, we had a great main event, to tie it all together. What were your thoughts in the fight between Calvin Kattar and Giga Chikadze?
I think that Calvin really went back to the drawing board, got better from his loss to Max Holloway, came back and basically put his foot in the ground and said, Giga, you're not going to back me up and land that phenomenal kick that you're known for. I'm going to be the bull, and I'm going to set the pace. I thought Kattar looked great, man, and that was exactly what he needed, because if he would have went in there and laid an egg and lost to Giga, I don't really know where he would have went from there. I think he's too big to cut to 35, and he's not big enough at 55. So 45 is his weight class, and that would have been catastrophic for him to lose that fight. So as a New England guy, I'm happy to see Calvin get the win. He looked good, and we'll see what's next for him.
Yeah, I was very impressed with his win against Giga. I was expecting more from Giga in that fight. It looked like he gassed out pretty early on. That grappling exchange in the first round really zapped majority of his cardio just in the first round. And if you look in rounds 2 to 5, he barely was throwing kicks. So he went from a kickboxer to a boxer. Calvin Kattar made him into a boxer, and that's where he was able to just pick him apart, come forward, throw hands. He's like, I know he's got no hands that's going to put me out. So he's going to be able to walk through fire. That's what he did. And he withstood everything that Giga was throwing at him and absolutely dismantled him for 25 minutes. And if you look at, Max Holloway, this man, everybody has like a resurgence. The next fight after you fight Max Holloway and lose, you have like this crazy resurgence. You look at Brian Ortega and look what he did against the Korean Zombie after his time off. Then you look at Calvin Kattar and look what he did against Giga after his time off. So, is that what happens after you take an L from Max Holloway?
I'm not sure if that's what happens, but I think the people that have a lot of intestinal fortitude, a lot of pride, like a Calvin Kattar, I think go back to the drawing board, take their licks, and just do the work to get better, to come back an evolved fighter. And I think that's what we saw with Calvin Kattar. I think he was embarrassed as to what happened with Max Holloway. He didn't say anything. He didn't try to make any excuses. He went out there and said, "Yep, Max big brothered me. Max owned me in that fight." And he went back. He worked with Tyson Chartier, his head coach, Rob Font, one of his main training partners, and just sharpened his skill set. Came in with a great game plan and derailed the hype train. Let's be honest. Giga Chikadze, as good of a fighter as he is, people were saying that, oh, maybe this is the guy that's going to dethrone Volkanovski. I mean, just look how amazing he is on his feet with his kicks. That is squashed now. That I'm sorry, but there's a legitimate blueprint out there to beat Giga moving forward. Calvin showed it to us, and here we are. Calvin, a big win, and he's resting up, waiting for another big time fight with title implications moving forward.
Absolutely. And who do you think each one of them should fight next?
Geez, now that I don't know. I think there still needs to be some stuff that's worked out. Obviously, with Volkanovski and Korean Zombie around the corner. I'm not sure if Ortega is matched up with somebody right now, but I
Not yet.
wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing Cater and Ortega if that lines up. But I'm more intrigued as to who they're going to match with Calvin than I am with Giga at this point. I think Giga needs to fight someone back around where he was ranked, around the latter half of the top 10. Maybe get another win, maybe get two other wins and look good. And then we can start talking about him fighting someone up around the top 5 again. But Calvin looked great, man. And yeah, he's in line for a big fight. I would say Ortega right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I like that fight as well. I really want to see Calvin Kattar versus Brian Ortega. I think that'd be a great matchup. You know, Ortega's striking has looked a lot better, and he also has that crazy ground game. You know, he's submission specialist, and then Calvin Kattar, he's an absolute dog. You know,
Yeah.
he brings the fight to anybody he faces. Giga, on the other hand, we don't know where he's going to go from there. You know, majority of the guys in the top 5 are coming off a loss, like Yair Rodriguez and Brian Ortega. So I doubt they're gonna, go and give Giga someone like that. But like you said, probably somebody, in the latter portion of the top 10. We'll see him fight soon. But I'm looking forward to it. We have great fights this weekend, UFC 270. With that said, we have Joseph Holmes, waiting in the wing, ready to get on with us. So let's bring him on and welcome him onto the show.
Yes.
All right, and here he is, UFC middleweight Joseph Holmes on the show. Joseph, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm great, brother. Just relaxing at home.
Yes, sir. Well, it's good to see you as always. And I know this last fight with Jamie Pickett obviously didn't go the way that you wanted. So, when you're looking back at this fight now, and it was just very recently, just this past weekend, how are you processing the L?
Things are cool, man. No different than before. I just need to get back to training. Just get back in the gym, fix my holes, fix my gas tank, and just show up better than ever.
What can you point towards in that fight where, maybe you could have done something different? Is there anything that you feel like going into that fight that, you thought you were going to implement that you weren't able to do against Jamie?
Main thing, man, my gas tank was just so small, dude. Like, I didn't think, well, because before this fight, I was like on a Christmas break. So, I was just like trying to enjoy my time with the little time I had. And then had a small feeling that a fight was going to come on. So I tried to just jump and start back training, but they ended up calling me 3 weeks before the fight. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to, just do like road work and get out, and run and do like extra stuff like that. So, but I was training a lot. So mainly I just need to focus on doing road work, before, I get a camp, and just be doing road work all the time and just become a different animal cardio wise. And cause I did a lot, and everything I did was working, but it was more so that I couldn't keep doing it a lot, to put the guy away. So yeah, I just need to become more athletic, just like an athletic standpoint, as far as, stronger, faster, things like that.
So you see a lot of fighters nowadays, especially in the UFC, that are jumping at short notice fights, and you're saying this clearly wasn't a full training camp like, you would have liked to have had, right? So is that something that you're going to really take into consideration here moving forward, where you feel like maybe a full camp is what you need now that you're at this level?
Well, I've always known I needed a full camp. I just haven't earned the right to ask for one. Just like now, coming off a loss, I still won't be able to ask for one. So it's kind of more like I have to look at a full camp and be like, okay, how many weeks is a full camp in my mind? So in my mind, a full camp would be like 5 weeks for me. If I could get 5 or more weeks, I would consider myself having a full camp. So just pretty much like if I don't have a fight on the books, I kind of need to be out acting like I do, just because of how quick these fights do present themselves, and we don't get noticed for it. So I definitely have to just be doing cardio like now. Like, I can't do much because of these stitches in my face, but I should definitely be doing cardio even so, like even right now, because literally I could get a fight like as soon as I get these stitches out. they could be like, okay, well, we got you booked for, this date, and it could be 3 weeks later, and then boom, I don't get a full camp because I wasn't, doing it now.
So outside of the stitches, is there anything that's preventing you from getting back to training? Are you healthy otherwise?
Yeah, I'm pretty healthy. I got like some just like soreness, I guess, from, getting into a really aggressive athletic situation. And then I got like bruising on my right foot from an inside leg kick I threw. But it's nothing more than some bruising. And then just like a bunch of different marks on my face that would be making it hard to, get in there and get punched in the face. So nothing too bad. I'll be back to training in, less than 7 days. But yeah.
Now, with this being your UFC debut officially, I mean, you fought on some pretty huge cards regardless anyways, but was this any different, man? Did it feel different? Were there any added nerves that you haven't had previously?
No added nerves. I guess things felt different in the sense of like my opponent was, way tougher. Normally up until this point, like you see a fight and you're just like, oh yeah, I got this guy all the way, no doubt, and coming into this, you think you could, you see it and you're like, yeah, I could take him. I definitely see how I could beat him. But even still, like things are like, oh, well, it should be an even match. Like both people should know how to fight really well. So it still comes down to like who's the most athletic and, who's the fastest and who has the most endurance and stuff like that.
How much did you enjoy just your first official UFC, media week, doing all that stuff that you guys have to do leading up into the fight? Like that must have been pretty cool, right?
It was awesome. Yeah, no, this was an amazing experience. UFC takes great care of you. They give you a lot of awesome gifts. Yeah, they just really make you feel like like a celebrity. Like everyone who sees you is all just like, oh my God, acting like they know who you are, and no, this experience was amazing. And then the fight itself, like there wasn't a huge crowd, so I kind of like when that happens. It makes things seem kind of like a training situation for me, which I enjoy. So no, the whole experience was amazing, and I can't wait to be back in there.
Did you get a chance to talk to Jamie afterwards? And sometimes when you get in there with someone, you build a little bit of a brotherhood, a little bit of a relationship afterwards. Do you feel like there's a chance where maybe you guys can work together and get any training in the future, or is this someone, or you maybe want to fight him again and get a rematch on the line?
I would definitely want a rematch with him, just because he didn't beat me. He did win by decision, but he didn't like get a finish on me or anything. So I would like a rematch with him if that was something that would interest him in the future. But no, we didn't really talk a whole lot. Like he said, he did say to me like right after the fight, he's like, you should be here. You're supposed to be here. He's like, man, you're great. You'll do fine. Just get back to training and, come back stronger. And he's like, you are supposed to be here. But like the whole time, Jamie was a super awesome guy. Every interaction I had with him was just amazing. Like he's a really, really nice guy. He has a kid around the same age as my kid, 4 years old, which was a kind of like small bonding moment we had together. Just started kind of talking about what we go through as a father to a 4-year-old. So that was cool. And yeah, nothing but respect for Jamie. He was an awesome dude and really fun to share the octagon with.
Yeah, what were your thoughts overall just on the card in general? Because outside of, I think it was just 2 fights on the main card, every fight was a decision. We're not used to seeing that in these UFC events. There's usually a lot more finishes. Like, did that even cross your mind? And what was just your overall thoughts of the event in general?
That actually did cross my mind. I was watching some of the earlier fights before mine because I had 2 teammates fight before me. They both went to decision. I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, there's a lot of decisions going on. It looks like maybe a lot of even fights or, great jobs by the matchmaker, which is always what they want. They want long fights so they can stick to a schedule. But, yeah, it was kind of surprising. I've seen a lot of hard-fought fights, and when I was seeing it, I was like, man, is my fight about to be a hard-fought fight, And dang, are we about to go 3 rounds as well? And, yeah, we ended up doing that and ended up having a hard-fought fight. So I think we were even, like, in the people's opinion, like second place of fight of the night. So that'd have been cool if Cater could have got a finish or something, and then I could have had a better chance at fight of the night.
Yeah, for sure, man. That would have been really nice. What was your overall thoughts of that Cater Giga fight, man? Because that was really special.
That was an amazing fight, dude. I actually had some like couple moments with Giga during cutting weight, like back in the sauna and just like in the hot tub, losing some pounds before the fight. So I was really excited to watch their fight just because I felt like, maybe me and him kind of became friends a little bit in a way. So to watch them fight, man, it was amazing. Giga has the heart of a lion, dude, and Cater's gotten really good. I don't think he's changed. He doesn't look like he's gotten better necessarily. I feel like he definitely has been doing what he's good at way better lately, if that makes sense, though. So it was a really fun fight to watch, and I can't wait to see both of those guys fight again.
All right, for sure. Garrett, you got anything for our friend Holmes here?
Yeah, just piggybacking on that, that Calvin Cater and Giga Chikadze fight. Knowing how it happens when you fight Max Holloway. And look at his last two opponents that he's beaten so badly, Brian Ortega and Calvin Cater. Do you think every time you take that L from Max Holloway, you kind of just level up a little bit more than than if you were to lose to pretty much anybody else?
I would imagine, dude, Max Holloway's volume is special. Like the way he is hitting you when you don't feel like you can be hit. And then, like, both guys are dead tired, but he's still throwing, like, 4+ punch combinations and stuff. I definitely imagine if you could survive a fight with Max Holloway, you come out way better than ever before.
Yeah, one thing's for certain. I know that I would never survive a fight with Max Holloway. I would probably be dead. That would be you could take that to the bank because that's exactly what would happen.
Holloway.
Joseph, when do you think that we could plan to see you back in action? Do you have a time frame for when you'd like to step back in the octagon?
I'd like to get in there by March, somewhere mid-March, kind of just spend February really just becoming a different human being. I need to train just like I've never trained before, and I need to train like this is going to be my first ever fight. Like, just because like fighting Jamie really showed me like I am supposed to be here. I am ready for this level, but it's not going to be easy, and I have to evolve like dramatically if I want to be a champion. Like, everybody always says like, oh, it's just the same. Like, UFC is the same as the smaller organizations. It's just the UFC, and the media just makes it bigger, and that's not true, man. Like, these dudes over here are like serious, man, and like you gotta just be next level, dude. You can't just be a good fighter, is what I'm learning. You gotta be a good fighter. You gotta be a strong fighter, fast fighter, experienced fighter, all of that.
One thing I've never asked you that I just came to my mind here. So you wear glasses a lot, just like myself. Do you have to wear contacts when you're in the cage, or is that something that you're?
Nah, I'm just nearsighted, so like I can't see details far. I can see everything just fine. But yeah, it's just like details, like reading things and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, because I would imagine if you had to wear contacts inside of the cage, that could be problematic. Maybe getting an eye, getting a finger in the eye, getting your contact jammed in the back. Have you had any training partners where that happens to?
Heck yeah, yeah. I have training partners whose contacts fall out all the time, and I see it, and they put it back in. And I'm like, dude, that's gross. Like, what are you doing? Go wash that off. And they're just like, this is your eye, bro. Like, I get your mouthpiece falling out, and you kind of just like throw it back in, but like something from your eyeball pop off, and you stick it back in your eyeball, not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Well, before we transition here, Garrett, is there anything that you had for Joseph, or you want to slide over to UFC 270?
Oh man, let's talk about UFC 270. We got two title fights on tap. We got Brandon Moreno and Figueiredo #3. It's gonna be a great fight. Then we got Cyril Gane and Francis Ngannou. We want to get your take on both of these title fights. Who do you think is gonna win, and how do you think they get it done?
I see Brandon Moreno probably getting a armbar triangle in the third round. Figueiredo, I feel like he's going to be really aggressive, like always, but just like have a real chip on his shoulder and just kind of be like looking for that flash knockout, or looking for to bully Moreno. Moreno's not going to get bullied, man.
Do you think that Moreno is going to be one of these champions that holds onto the belt for a while, or do you feel like there's someone in the division that might be able to challenge him and take that belt?
He's a young.
We lost your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I think Moreno is not even 30 yet, right?
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah. I think Moreno's gonna have a long run, man. I think we could see, or potentially see, like a modern day Mighty Mouse out of him. I like how he grapples and stuff a lot, and he's really good at it. So I think we could definitely see a modern day Mighty Mouse out of him, or better, definitely. But I definitely see Hall of Fame out of Moreno for sure. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet, though, right?
No.
Okay.
No, not yet. He's still got a ways to go, I think, before he'll be there. But you're right. He is super young. So hopefully we will get to see maybe a long run and a champion that's dominant. That would be pretty neat.
Hopefully. Yeah. That division's kind of been wiped clean, though, before he got the belt. So he's already fought mostly everybody, right? I seen Roy Val. He had a good fight on the card I fought. So that'd be good if he could make like a, get like a 3-fight thing going. Maybe go see Moreno again, but I don't see anybody knocking him out of there.
Yeah, he looks good. And the heavyweight championship. Oh my God. I cannot wait for this. Francis Ngannou, Ciryl Gane. Yeah, break this down for us, Joseph. How is this gonna play out?
I see us having a slow start to the fight. I think because both of these guys train together. Francis might be a little hesitant. Just trying to, work his range and figure his defense out and stuff like that, because Cyril's really light on his feet. I'm sure he's going to be cutting a lot of angles. So in the first round, you'll probably see a lot of that. Cyril dancing around, probably sliding a jab in there, here and there. And Francis kind of filling him out, taking a little bit of time to fill him out. Because, like, with Francis, once he gets, like, a dangerous opponent, I've noticed, and just in my opinion, he definitely – hesitates, I feel, because when he fought Derek Lewis, that fight wasn't supposed to look that way. Those guys were supposed to just go for it, and that didn't happen. So I feel like we might see something like that to start this fight. And Ciryl has a great gas take. Francis doesn't really see later rounds too often. I think we're going to be having a whole round of dancing. Second round guys come out. Francis swinging some heavy hooks, hopefully. And then I think things are really going to pop off in the second round out of those two. But maybe a finish by Francis. I say Francis has it. I have no doubt in my mind Francis gets that win in the third round by a finish.
Yes, see, and that's exactly how I feel. I think Francis is going to get the win. Garrett differs. He thinks that Gane is going to win. But I wanted to run this by you as a fighter and get your take on it, because I find this to be really interesting. So they apparently trained together. Francis said that it was a short period of time, like a month, right? Now, when you're training with your training partners, you're supposed to be nice, right? You're not supposed to be like Sean Strickland coming forward trying to knock your training partner's block off, right? Yeah. So basically my whole point is this: like, they're trying to create this narrative that Gane was getting the better of Francis in training, but Francis is known for his power. And how can you be a good training partner if you're going to just give everything you got to your training partner? I just don't feel like Gane has felt everything that Francis can throw. And I think that there's some pent up frustration where Francis is going to come forward and he's going to really tee off on Gane at some point and ultimately get the finish. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I feel that's definitely very likely to happen, just because, like you said, he is going to be probably frustrated from all the shit that's been talked about some goddamn training sessions. Like, dude, like, in training, like, yeah, you strike back and forth and both guys are going for it here and there, like, sometimes, but, like, one of the main things you're not doing is you're not sending your kill shots. You're not just letting go of things. You know what I'm saying? You're throwing them and pulling them back, and that's no matter what. No matter what, especially like the people at the highest level, they're going to be doing it more than others. They're going to be, pulling their shots back the most, because they don't want their teammate or training partner to turn around and hit them, and with one of those shots or do something that would hurt them. So yeah, dude, no, Ciryl has not felt Francis at at his full potential, and Francis hasn't felt Cyril at his full either. But I do think that them training together during that time is going to give both guys a better idea of what they can accomplish in an actual fight. But I did hear Cyril talking about like expecting a decision, not expecting to finish Francis, and Francis was kind of just like, no, I'm gonna knock him out. He hasn't felt me in beast mode, I think he calls it. Francis calls himself beast mode. So I'm really excited to see this thing.
We'll just make sure that we keep the Skittles away from Ngannou come fight night. We don't need Marshawn Lynch in the octagon. Where are you planning on watching the fights? I'm sure you're going to be kicking back, maybe watching it with your girl. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, me and my girl are going to be in Austin. We got a friend whose birthday's this weekend, so we're actually leaving to Austin tomorrow. Spend a few days out there having a good time and visiting some old friends and stuff like that. So we'll probably find a nice bar or something like that to go watch the fights. We kind of like watching it with other fight fans, so we like to get rowdy.
Very good, Joseph. Well, hey, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my man. Before we do cut you loose, Garrett, did you have anything extra for Mr. Holmes here?
Nah, man. I just want to say keep it up. Hope to see you soon. Definitely gonna have you back on the podcast very, very soon. So we're very happy for having you here, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, bro, it was a pleasure to meet you, Garrett. I don't think we met before, but you're an awesome dude, man. I look forward to talking to you also soon.
Appreciate it. All right, man. You have a good one.
Thanks, Joseph. Talk to you soon, buddy.
Appreciate you, brother. Talk soon.
Yes, sir.
And yet another great interview. Joseph Holmes, great fighter, great dude. So happy that he was able to come on with us, spend some time with us. Even though taking L, some fighters don't like coming on podcasts afterwards, but he was so nice enough to come on with us and break it down for us and get his feel of how it was in his UFC debut.
Yeah, no doubt. And he's going to be back. Don't get it twisted. He took the fight on relative short notice against a tough guy. His cardio wasn't where he needed to be. He was very upfront and honest about that. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for Joseph Ugly Man Holmes. And I still don't know why they call him Ugly Man. I think he's a handsome fella, but that's neither here nor there. But Garrett, let's get into UFC 270. I'm just going to let you take the reins here and tell me the picks that you like the most here. I think I know where you're leaning, but maybe you'll surprise me with a pick or two.
Let's see. My favorite bets on the card. Oh man, it's a little tough because there's a lot of juice out there on a lot of these fights. It's really hard to pinpoint. Man, it's a tough card, man. But if I'm going for best bets, it's hard to go against the man Brandon Moreno here over Davidson Figueiredo. I know it's not a great line, -180. You look at him, he was an underdog in his last two fights against Figueiredo. He went to a draw, and then he absolutely dismantled him, in the second fight. Then, come now, he's a -180 favorite. I still think we're getting some good value there. I think he's still the better fighter. Figueiredo, he had to go to fight ready with training with Henry Cejudo, training with Eddie Cha. He's training with John Jones. He's been getting in a ton of great work. I do expect a much better Figueiredo this time out than his last time. He looked completely flat in that fight. I don't expect that here. I expect him to come forward. I expect him to throw a ton more strikes, a lot more feints. And I think he's going to be proactive with his wrestling. I do think he's going to take Moreno down at some point because he's been drilling that with Cejudo and with Jones and everybody over there. I do think Moreno is the more complete fighter. I think he's got the better cardio. I think he's got the better chin. I think he wants more. I think he's hungrier. I just think he's going to be the champion for a little bit of time. I mean, there are some, good fighters coming up like Askarov and Kai France, but those are two guys that if I'm not mistaken, Moreno beat one of them and went to a draw with the other. So Moreno is at the top of the heap. And I feel it's going to be very hard for someone to really knock him off right now.
Well, I sure hope you're right because I definitely am a big fan of Brandon Moreno. He's a super, just nice guy. I've interviewed him once, and he's a pleasure to talk to. He just seems like one of those fighters that is who he seems to be, and would be a good role model for, future, young fighters coming up. But the fight does concern me. I think that Figueiredo is getting slept on a little bit here. And I'm just really intrigued. I think we're going to find out a lot about just how good both of these guys are in this fight, because I don't necessarily know that we saw the real true version of Deiveson Figueiredo in that second fight. But we're going to find out. We're going to find out. That's why they're stepping in the cage, and I'm really, really intrigued about it. I normally don't get quite as hyped up, about the smaller guys like 125 or 135. But I am pumped for this fight because both of these guys are so dynamic. So I'm really intrigued, but I'm staying away from it betting wise. Like, I wouldn't mind sliding either one of these guys into a DraftKings lineup, but I'm not putting any money on it. However, I will tell you who I am putting money on, and that's Francis Ngannou staying the champion, unifying the belt, and knocking out Cyril Gane. I think Ngannou is going to just have a masterful performance. I feel like he's just going to be too strong, too aggressive for Gane, and I think one of those big bombs is going to land. I truly believe that. I know that what you look at, Ngannou's plus 130, Gane is minus 150. So, the line is pretty close. You're not going to win a whole lot of money, but I'm pretty confident in that. Another couple picks I'll tell you real quick, Garrett, that I feel pretty good about. And this is not a shocker here. Ilya Topuria minus 630 favorite. I think he's probably going to win.
I would hope so. At minus 630.
Yeah. So I'm pretty confident about sliding him into a DraftKings lineup. And the third one I want to mention, I'm just going to preface it by saying I'm going to be a little bit of a homer by saying this. You can see right above me, right here, Tony Gravely. That's my guy. That's my guy. I've been interviewing him for years now. He's like the nicest person on planet Earth. So I think he's going to get back in the win column. I think he learned from the mistakes he had in his last fight. And he's going to look dominant after all the evolving he's been doing at ATT. So Tony Gravely, Francis Ngannou, Ilya Topuria. I like those three. Slide them into a DraftKings lineup or a parlay if you'd like.
I like it. If you guys watched our Tony Gravely interview just 2 episodes ago, he said he was going to get a 3rd round finish and he was going to get a win via submission. If you look at the prop there, he's plus 900 to win this fight by submission. He's going against another submission threat in, Oliveira, but, he thinks his jiu-jitsu is better than Oliveira. So, I'm looking forward to seeing if he actually gets it done. That's a great prop there if you want to sprinkle a little bit on there at plus 900. But I just want to talk about the Ngannou Gane fight, because, that's what everybody's talking about this weekend. That's what everybody's talking about, for the last month or so, because, there's a lot of bad blood between the two of them. They used to train together a little bit. It's going to be a great fight. I'm so looking forward to it. But I just think Gane is the better fighter of the two. I know Ngannou's got the death touch, and I get it. From a technical standpoint, he's not the best striker. Ngannou, he does things very, very well. I think I put him at the upper echelon when it comes to striking in the heavyweight division. But then if you look at Gane and the way he strikes, his strikes are just things that it's hard to really game plan for. If you look at Ngannou and he's training at Extreme Couture, who is remotely going to be able to imitate Gane at all at Extreme Couture? Who's 6'4", with an 81-inch reach that moves like a middleweight or moves like a welterweight? At 245 pounds, who's got the power to knock you out? Who's got the wrestling to take you down and submit you? He's the legit package, but it comes down to whether or not he can roll with the punches. If he can make, Ngannou miss like he does everybody else. When you're looking at Rosenstrike and you look at, Volkov, his last 2 fights, both of them did not even remotely land against him. They both landed less than 30% of their head strikes against him. And you look at Rosenstrike, he only landed, I believe, 44 strikes in a 25-minute fight. He didn't even land 2 strikes a minute against Gane in that fight. And then he dismantled Derek Lewis. Lewis landed, I think, 19 strikes. And Volkov's the only one that really has some success, but his success was due to kicking. Most of his strikes that he was landing were kicks. None of them were really to the head. He only landed about 40 of 148 strikes to the head. So it's going to be really tough for Ngannou to, I think, get within kicking range, get into boxing range, and really land, his heavy strikes. I just don't think if he's patient like he was against Stipe, it's going to be, I think that's going to be a disservice to him. I think he needs to come out like he did against Rosenstrike and just bum rush Gane. Because staying at distance, it's going to be tough. Because you're talking about a guy that throws a ton of kicks. You look at Gane, okay, 7 fights. He's thrown 202 kicks. And Ngannou has only absorbed 46 kicks across his 13 UFC fights. I think that's going to play a factor in this. I think. But
all great points. But all great points, Garrett. All great points. But I wore my sweatshirt today on purpose. This is the Mike Tyson Roots of Fight sweatshirt.
I love it. Love it.
Francis Ngannou is the modern day UFC heavyweight 6'4" version of Mike Tyson in his prime. Francis Ngannou is different. He's just different. And I think he's going to remind everybody about it come fight night. You're right about so many things that you said. Gane is amazing. He's slick. He's so much more skilled than Ngannou, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think Ngannou is going to corner him, and as soon as he has him cornered, all it's going to take is one grazing shot to put him, dazed, and he's going to put him out. That's just what I think. Maybe I'm going to be wrong. I'm wrong plenty. I've gotten plenty of picks wrong, but I feel pretty good about this one. But we'll see.
It's definitely possible. You have to look at Gane. He has to fight a perfect fight for 25 minutes. That's where it gets a little hard because it only takes one from Ngannou. Just like I said with Lewis, when Lewis fought Chris Daukaus, it only takes one. It just takes one punch to change the entire landscape of the fight. And that's what Ngannou possesses. Gane does not possess that type of one punch, change the entire landscape of a fight, type of power. And Ngannou does. So pretty much Gane has legit have to be on his bike for 25 minutes and not get touched for 25 minutes. Much easier said than done when you have that man standing right in front of you. It ain't going to be that easy. So, I don't think it's a, go to the bank and, bet the house on Gane. I think the line at minus 150, a lot of people are hammering Gane like he's, like it's going to be a walk in the park. I don't see it. I think it's going to be a close fight until someone gets finished. Someone's going down, whether it's Francis or whether it's Gane, someone's going down. And I expect this not to go the distance. I expect someone to get a finish here. I'm not really going to touch. Yeah, I love it. I'm ready for it. I think everybody's ready for it. We've talked about this for a while now. Unfortunately, I'm not going to bet on that fight. I'm just going to watch it unfold, see what happens. But yeah, as far as betting goes, I'll give you a couple more plays. My parlay of the week, I'm looking to take we got Jack Della Maddalena, I believe, Ilya Taporia, and Hani Barcelos. I got that. All three of them were minus 105 together. It's about even. About a pick 'em, and I like it at that. I think they all have favorable matchups. Victor Henry, I don't think he has enough to beat someone like Barcelos. He's been a run-of-the-mill type of guy. He's not a top prospect. He's 34 years old coming into the UFC. Barcelos, I think, hasn't beat pretty much everywhere in the striking and the grappling. I think, this should be in the walk in the park for Barcelos. Barcelos almost finished Timur Valiev before, the time ran out in that round and then lost a majority decision. So it was a very close fight against a really tough opponent, Valiev. Victor Henry is not on the same wavelength as Valiev. Then you got Taporia is taking on short notice replacement Charles Jourdain. Jourdain, really good striker, but we already know where his downfalls are, and that's in his grappling. Taporia is a really good grappler, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he's also got power in his hands, no less. And then this is a really, really tough matchup for Jourdain to really come in and get a win on short notice, especially, this guy has 7 fights in the UFC, and he's had a lot of fights, and he's only 3-3-1, and 2 of his 3 wins are against bantamweights. So I'm going in there. I'm thinking Toro should get it done. I think it should be fairly easy. If he goes in there, doesn't fight this at range, gets in there and takes it to the ground, should be, fairly easy night for him. And last but not least, I got Jack Della Maddalena over Pete Rodriguez, another short notice replacement. Rodriguez, he's 4-0. He's only got 4 wins as a pro. He's got extensive amateur background as well. I think he's got 5+ fights as an amateur. Most of his wins have come by knockout. I believe all of his pro wins have come by first round knockout. So the guy has got some power, but he's pretty small for welterweight. He's only 5'8". I don't think he's got a ton of great technical abilities in the striking. I think Maddalena is going to be able to mix it between the body and the head. He's got some really good body shots. I really think that's going to take a lot out of Rodriguez. I think it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a barn burner, and I think someone's getting finished in the first or second round. I like the under 1.5 rounds in that fight as well, which is at like -115. But I think Maddalena gets it done. I think he knocks him out. I don't think Rodriguez is really UFC caliber just yet. But I know they need a short notice replacement really fast, and somebody that could really, go in there and just throw down. That's not going to come in there trying to, wrestle Maddalena. So that's why I think it's a really good matchup for him, because of the fact that he was going against Worley Alves, who is a good grappler. So he was going to test him there. Where Rodriguez is not going to test Maddalena there at all. He's just going to come, throw down, kind of brawl, and try to get a knockout. So I got those 3. I think they win. I think we're getting close to a pick 'em odds. I think that's my parlay of the week. And my dog bet of the week, I'm taking. I know this is a little off the cuff here, but I'm taking Jasmine Jazdavicius.
It's Jazdavicius.
Jazdavicius at +200 over Kay Hansen. I know this is a tough one, but you're giving me Jasmine at +200 right now. I don't think that should be remotely even close to as wide as it is. I know Kay Hansen's got a lot of backers. She's got a lot of fans, and maybe that's what's driving the line to where it's at right now. And I know she's a good grappler in her own right. Her striking has looked really crisp. I've been looking at some of her pad work. She's very fast on her feet. But she's coming up to 125. She's been primarily at 115. She's only had 4 rounds of fight time at 125 pounds. She wasn't able to take down Erin Blanchfield when she fought her way back in the day at 125 pounds. And then she had 1 round at Invicta, which was like an exhibition match at 125 pounds, where she was able to, she got reversed in that fight against the striker. So I just don't think she's going to be able to implement her grappling there. We look at, Jasmine, she does have a grappling background. If I'm not mistaken, I think she was a Canadian silver medalist in wrestling. So she's a very strong grappler. She's got a 5-inch height and 5-inch reach advantage as well. She's very, very big. And I do think she's going to be able to be stronger than Kay Hansen. It all comes down to the cardio. Who's going to have the better cardio between the two? Because we've seen Jasmine tend to fade as the fight goes on, especially in a Contender Series fight. And we also have seen Kay Hansen tend to fade as fight goes on as well. And now this is at 125 pounds. And she hasn't gone 15 minutes at 125 pounds in over 3 years. So it's going to be interesting to see, how she fares going in against another grappler and just grappling for 15 minutes at 125 pounds. But I got Jasmine here. I think there's a ton of value on her at +200. Yeah, I'm taking it to the bank and hopefully cashing out.
I like it, man. Where are you watching the fights this weekend?
Unfortunately, I will be missing the fights because I will be live at Rise Fighting Championship this Saturday doing some commentary work in Fort Lauderdale at Extreme Action Park. So, guys, if you want to head over there, go get the Rise FC app, download it now, get some tickets, and have some fun watching some fights, live fights, man. It's gonna be some good fights on tap. So I'll be there, and hopefully I'll be able to at least catch the main event at the bar, across the street afterwards.
Well, best of skill come fight night doing your commentary. I know you're gonna crush it, buddy. And I
Appreciate
definitely
it.
look forward to recapping UFC 270 next week and having another great guest on the show with you, my man.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, everybody, we will see you all next week.